As I take my position on the battlefield, keep rhymes ill, go for the kill one time, you know the drill. The hard rock, head rock, catch me at the set spot. Can MCs test, MC delirious? I guess not, but sound travel watch, man.
Yes!
You're gonna hear all types of airplanes, cars, all types of stuff in the background. It is what it is, yeah. I've had to relocate to do this vid in the house. Turki Al Sheikh has confirmed that an application has been submitted for an extended capacity for Anthony Joshua's fight with Danny Dubois for the IBF heavyweight title. He'll have to submit this extension to Sadiq Khan, the mayor. The AJ is set to eclipse the 90,000 he done at Wembley in 2017 against Vladimir Klitschko. And will it surpass Tyson Fury's post-war record of 94,000 against Dillian Whyte in 2022 at Wembley Stadium? Now, we're talking records for world title fights in Europe. You know what I mean? There's been bigger gates for fights than these numbers I'm producing here. Like Dmitry Shudanov, he done huge numbers in 2014 in Russia, where roughly 100,000 people were in attendance. But there was also an open-air bike show, so they weren't all there for boxing. But if we're talking about Britain, Tyson Fury has the record for a world title fight at 94,000. However, Len Harvey versus Jock McAvoy for the British light heavyweight title. Jack Solomon's, he was a cheeky bugger. He used to call a lot of his fights world title fights when they wasn't. You know what I mean? It says on Boxbook, vacant British Boxing Board of Control world light heavyweight title. Len Harvey outpointed Jock McAvoy over 15 rounds. It says a crowd of 90,000 here, but the experts and the old school people know it did way more than that, and likely did way more than what Tyson Fury did against Dillian. I don't know what other numbers are out there, but you're going to have to go some to beat the 130,000 at the Azteca Stadium when Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. knocked down Greg Haugen in the fifth and then peppered him relentlessly in the corner before the grudge match was stopped. Chavez retained his WBC super lightweight title. Yes, 130,000. But it looks like across the pond, Stevenson versus Cordina and the rest of the card will be pay-per-view on DAZN. But if you want to see what we all thought was the main event, Beterbiev versus Bivol, undisputed at 175, you have to switch over to paid subscription ESPN to see that. Now, how many people across the pond are going to pay for the Shakur DAZN event? And if they don't have ESPN, are they going to subscribe to watch Beterbiev and Bivol? It seems a bit American. A total balls up. I mean, let's keep it 100. Putting Shakur Stevenson on pay-per-view in that time zone. I mean, it's not exactly a prime time location in America. The Saudi time zone is closer to the UK in terms of prime time compatibility. So how does it work? Because it's really confusing, and this is shit what you're doing here, that you have to do so much mental gymnastics to work out the whole plot. Will Shakur's fight be on ESPN as the co-main event to Beterbiev and Bivol? And if you're subscribed to ESPN already, do you get the whole card, whether with or without Shakur and Joe Cordina, as part of your subscription, rather than as a pay-per-view event? Eddie was reluctant to sign Shakur because of the purse structure that Shakur had at Top Rank. And I'm sure Turki Al Sheikh has alleviated that stress from Eddie having to worry about that. But at the same time, Shakur was getting matched pretty well at 130 against the likes of Oscar Valdez and Jamel Herring. All the fights he needed to fight at that weight were attainable. 135 with Lomachenko as the beta, and Tank has proved a little different. And now they're trying to turn Shakur into a pay-per-view draw against a British fighter who's just coming off a stoppage loss. And Shakur's last opponent came off a stoppage loss. Now, I'm not throwing shade at Shakur because of the opponent choice, whether they've came off losses or not, because a lot of fighters have avoided Shakur. But trying to turn him into a pay-per-view draw with the opponent options they have,
no matter how nice they are, they're going to flop.
But what other option do they have? If they have to pay him $3 million or whatever, $4 million to fight Joe Cordina, they've got to try. How much are they going to charge for the pay-per-view? Hopefully not as much as Canelo's pay-per-view against Berlanga. $90 is what they're saying. $90. Canelo. Devin Haney has already built a reputation in Australia, becoming undisputed champion there at 135, defeating George Kambosos and then returning there to defeat him again in his first defence. Devin then went on to become WBC light welterweight champion. There's talk of Devin going to Australia to become a 2-time light welterweight champion if he takes on Liam Paro. I assume Devin is going to ditch his WBC interim status and challenge for Paro's full IBF title. And like I said, Devin already has notoriety there. And Liam is coming off that impressive win against Subriel Matias, the knockout machine, in Puerto Rico, taking his IBF 140-pound belt. This is going to be a huge fight over there if it's made. Devin supposedly was going to take the rest of the year off, considering what he went through with Ryan Garcia. But I guess he's had enough of sitting around and he wants to go for it. Liam Paro, he wants that fight. Eddie was saying there's a chance it could be the winner of Jack Catterall and Regis Prograis to take on Paro. I think he's just got Prograis and Catterall on standby. It's unlikely they'll be in the ring facing Paro because they're fighting on the 26th of October. They was originally slated to fight on August 24th. That would have been Saturday gone. Jack Catterall was injured. You know, Australia, like I've said, is difficult. It's a difficult commute for away fighters. It's a difficult comeback opponent after Devin's last fight. Audacious almost. You know, Devin coming off a fight where he took a lot of punishment like that, taking his fight, has to be commended, in my opinion. Dick Turpin first recognised British black boxing champion, beating Vince Hawkins for the British 160-pound title in 1948. His younger brother, Randolph Turpin, however, was the first black world champion, beating Sugar Ray Robinson in 1951 in Earl's Court for the middleweight title. The second youngest brother, who's not often spoke about, however, is Jackie Turpin, with a winning record and a Midlands area champion. The Turpins are the standard bearers for historical purposes. Black fighters rising up against the colour bar, winning world and British titles. Now, I made a great discovery recently, and it was one of my subs, Anthony Mackin, said I should do a little section, and that's what we're going to do. I always heard of Alex Buxton, a fighter named Alex Buxton, from picking up the boxing news and reading them run over columns about old school boxing. And I didn't know Alex Buxton was black. I knew he won a title of some kind back then, around middle or light heavy. He's a black fighter from Watford. I was watching some Dennis Andrews fights just the other day, and it was on a Harry Holland promoted card. I haven't heard that name for a long time, man. Yeah, he used to be one of the promoters in the 80s. And Dennis was fighting Keith Bristol, defending his British title. And then Harry Carpenter said, there's Alex Buxton. That's Alex Buxton. And I said, oh, he's black. I didn't know. And he is also from a family of fighters. All his brothers fought in the pro ring. You got Alex Buxton, former British light heavyweight champion. It says 1954 here, but it says on BoxRec he beat Dennis Powell for the light heavyweight title in 1953. Defended it against Albert Finch, who actually beat Dick Turpin for the middleweight title after Dick Turpin's historic win to become the first black British champion. Though that's disputed with Andrew Jepter, but today we're going to let it go. And incidentally, Albert Finch lost the title to Randolph Turpin, that middleweight title, before Turpin went on to beat Sugar Ray Robinson. My man Alex Buxton surrendered his light heavyweight title to the great Randolph Turpin, as you're hearing from the results, what he's doing to all the common opponents in the thread. The great Randolph Turpin. He lost that middleweight title to him, and Alex Buxton lost his light heavyweight title to Randolph Turpin in 1955. 5th round TKO. So the Alex Buxton story is interesting because just like the Turpins, there's a whole mob of them. There was 3 Turpins and there was 4 Buxtons who went in the pro ring in the 40s and 50s. They're from Watford. Alex Buxton, former British light heavyweight champion. There was Alan Buxton, a welterweight. Laurie Buxton, a welterweight. And Joe Buxton, a middleweight. On the 27th of September 1949 in Watford Town Hall, all 4 brothers fought on a card. Alex Buxton, he knocked out Des Jones in 4 rounds. Alan Buxton TKO'd Bob Baines in 3. Joe Buxton won on points over 4 rounds over Johnny McMurdy. And Laurie Buxton TKO'd Reg Quinlan in 3. All 4 brothers won on the same bill. Has there ever been a clan of brothers who've done anything similar? Let me know. The closest thing I can think of is the Hilton brothers in 1983 in Montreal. All 3 of them fought on one card on one. Alex, Matthew, who went on to become a 154-pound champion with the IBF, and Stuart Hilton, the Fighting Hilton brothers out of Canada. To do their life story, I'm going to take a lot of research because it's a little wild. It's a little wild. 2009 Liverpool Echo Arena. Paul Smith outpointed Tony Quigley for the super middleweight British title. His super featherweight brother, Stephen Smith, outpointed Gavin Reed over 8 rounds. Liam Smith, he won a 4-rounder against Darren Gethin. Tony Bellew was on the card. This was a Frank Warren card. Cameron Smith, the youngest of the clan, was yet to turn pro. He turned pro 2012, so he didn't get to make it 4 on the card. I'm sure he would have been there if he could have. Nottingham's Lee Wood vacated his WBA 126-pound title shortly after stopping Josh Warrington in a very good fight. He posted on social media that he intends to fight before the end of the year is out. He's a free agent. There was a break in his contract that if Matchroom couldn't produce a fight for him at the City Ground in Nottingham, he would be able to walk on his contract. Probably would have preferred to see the winner out of Lee Wood and Josh Warrington facing the new IBF super featherweight champion Anthony Kakache, rather than Josh Warrington, who was knocked out in his last fight by Lee Wood. Would make more sense. Been a few slow news days recently. You know, we're waiting for 21st of September and the 12th of October. You know what events I'm talking about. They're the events that are going to trend. So this weekend, Carson, California, the 21-0, 17 inside the distance, Diego Pacheco takes on Marcel SULECKI from Poland, 32-2. His 2 losses are to Danny Jacob and Bubo Andrade. Andrade had him down, but couldn't keep him there, lost his way a little. SULECKI never been stopped. We want to see what Pacheco can do. Last time Pacheco was taken the distance by Sean McCollman, who went in the ring 15-0. Very strong, young and ambitious. Didn't allow himself to get backed up, but a little self-belief maybe saved it from being a worse night for Diego, but let's not do ifs and buts. Diego won. Tough fight though, very tough fight. Diego got critiqued, but you know, he had an unbeaten, ambitious young guy in front of him. Not always easy. I mean, none of us heard of him, but that means nothing. CHEAVON Clarke, British champion at cruiser, makes his American debut. He takes on a Nigerian named Apochi, who has 12 wins, 12 knockouts. He's a big puncher. He's lost 2 of his last 3 via split decision, one of them to Brandon Glanton. So he's not bad, and it's a good test, especially as CHEAVON is going across the pond and he can't afford no slip-ups here. A lot of weird stuff going on. I watched Eduardo NUNEZ knock out Rakimov in Tajikistan, where Rakimov is from, in an eliminator. For some reason, the fight has been scrubbed off the records on BoxRec, and I'm wondering what happened there. Yeah, Eduardo is 26-1, 26 inside the distance. Why is Eddie not pushing this guy forward to fight Kakache, and we're getting Josh Warrington? What is going on? NUNEZ is on the card anyway on Saturday against Miguel Mariaga. Now, if you haven't watched NUNEZ, you should watch him. He's very entertaining, a ball of dynamite, and he's quite clever in there too. But yeah, some questions need asking. What happened to his win, and why is it not on BoxRec? Why is he not being mandated to fight Kakache?